in 3, 2, 1.
So yeah, I'm Sarah, and I am a massage therapist, as Amy said, and so I've been a massage therapist for probably over 20 years now. It's a bit scary to say. I've also got 3 daughters, so my eldest 2 are now teenagers, and my youngest has actually got special needs, so she's got autism and epilepsy. So I've been using oils for as long as I've been massaging, really, so a lot in my clinic. Been a lover of lavender for as long as I can remember. But apart from using them for people to sort of help with their massage for like the smell, I didn't really know much more about them until probably about well over a year ago. I sort of ran into a friend that was using doTERRA oils, and she smelled really good. And then not long after that, someone else was using the oils on their child with special needs also, and she had anxiety. So that was sort of really amazing to see how those oils were helping her with her anxiety. So that sort of intrigued me to learn more about this doTERRA world, and yeah, that's where my sort of love affair started. And so it's been pretty amazing ever since then. And using these oils for my health, and I've introduced many people to them, and just seeing everyone's experiences is just love the company, love the community, and everything about it. So yeah, so I'm here today to share my knowledge that I've learned. I've learned so much about these oils, and so I am going to just go over, I think, the top 10. I don't know who has started with a home essentials kit or with just a few oils, but yeah. So we have just these oils are great because you can just go back to them, and I've got a lot of oils now. Probably got a big box full, but I must admit these 10 oils I do go back to all the time, and I do add on things, but these are just your core starter kit, and they are pretty amazing. So they're the ones I'm going to focus on, but I will bring in, because of the issues we have with the hormones, I'll talk a little bit about things that can help with that as well, and a few of my favorite oils. So yeah, so first of all, as we know, as we all know with doTERRA, we should know that they are safe. So they are 100% natural. So essential oils, for if they're new to you, they're extracts from plants. So they're cold pressed or steam distilled, and so they are taken from the leaves, the roots, the bark of plants, and the flowers. And basically, so they're extracted, and they basically are pure nature, basically. So we have these amazing oils, and they are, yeah, so they're pure and they're natural. So we can use them on our children, we can use them on the elderly, but we have to use them safely because they are powerful. And so we have to, it is really weird talking to myself, so quiet. Maybe you could turn your mic off, Rebecca, and say something now and again.
Yeah, hello.
So we have these amazing pure oils that they're sourced from all over the world. So they're potent. So that means that they are sourced from all these different countries, and that's where that plant actually thrives and grows in its natural state. So for an example, so lavender oil, basically, if you had lavender in your back garden, it may be pure and it be organic. It may not have been sprayed, but the lavender that we source from Bulgaria, and the high altitude of Bulgaria with that soil composition, actually changed the chemistry constituents of the oil. So that is what I mean by them being potent. All essential oils are not created the same, and even though people may think they're and they may be organic and pure, but it's really cut down to what chemical constituents of those oils. The other thing is around the testing. So doTERRA, there's no sort of regulations around essential oil testing, or what you can have and label something essential oil. So basically you can have like 5% essential oil, and the rest can be like filled with fillers, perfumes, or they can just be without even the company knowing that they're not pure oils. And they're not, if we're going to use them on a therapeutic basis, then it's a really good idea. If we're putting them on our body and without using them for our health, we want to have the purity there. So that's really important. And I think doTERRA have totally nailed it with their testing. I've just done a course on it, and a lot of it, to be honest, it was over my head. It was all around science, but they went through all the testing that they did, and it's really quite amazing what they do to get those high chemicals constituents in the oils. So basically, yep, so they're safe and they're pure. Just around safety, what we want to do is really make sure we are using them safely. So we're always going to dilute. We're always going to dilute oils with our fractionated coconut oil, which I've got here, or we're going to use a carrier oil or moisturizer. doTERRA do a really lovely unscented moisturizer, which I often use with my oils to rub on my skin. So that's another way that you can use them topically. We also want to make sure that if we are using them on children and other people's sensitive skin or the elderly, that we definitely, less is more, and these oils are strong. So we just want to make sure we're using them safely. We don't need to be using a huge amount of these oils. So that brings me to the different ways of using the oils in a safe manner. So we can basically, most of you will know, we can basically use them aromatically. We can use them topically, and we can use them as a food additive. So that is the 3 ways. And the ways we do that safely is really when it comes to diffusing, you can't really go wrong. You just put your oils in your diffuser. I have diffusers in my kitchen, in my massage room, by my bed, and I've got another spare one that I move around the house. By my bed, like the number of drops I put in that may differ from the number of drops I'll have in my kitchen because it's a bigger area. So by my bed, I probably put in about 3 drops because it's quite near my bed, my face. In my kitchen, I'll put in like 6 to 8 drops because it's a wider area. So that's diffusing's pretty safe anyway, but it just really have to use your intuition about what sort of dosage you're using. And the way it works with our aromatic is these particles, these volatile aromatic compounds are released into the air, and they travel up through our olfactory system into our limbic system in our brain, and that's like our emotional brain. And so then your brain can sort of release serotonin through your body and set off these triggers. That is why they sort of make us feel calm and have that effect on us. It's actually through that limbic system in our brain. The other way of using our oils safely, so also when I say about aromatic, that could just be, so has everyone got their oils in front of them? Some sort of oil? So if you want to grab your peppermint.
Some people don't have oils yet.
Okay, so if you've got an oil, grab whatever you want. We're just going to use, we're going to experience our aromatic oil, right? So I've got my peppermint, so we know 1 drop. If you've been to a class, you'd know this is what we do. If you need to dilute that, make sure you're diluting it. I know I'm fine with peppermint, but you may want to add a bit of fractionated coconut oil, and we just grab your oil and just let's have a big, deep inhale. Oh, that's strong. Mind your eyes if it's peppermint. So for me, I'll explain what this is doing. This is opening all my airways. It's invigorating me. It's making me feel, it's waking me up. So this is a great oil to have like 3 o'clock pick me up. It's really nice to have to clear your airways. We can just smell it out of the bottle. can smell it out of our hands. We can even do with peppermint. This is a little trick that I learned not long ago, like a little oil pipe, and you just put it in, and then you just cup your hands like a pipe, and you just give it a little bit of a, and you can really feel it into your lungs if you do that. It's like, whoo. So that's great.
None of us do drugs, by the way, just a disclaimer, no drugs being done.
No, it's just it's a peppermint pipe. So then we can use our oil off our hands, and we can rub that onto our shoulders and our neck, and that is just a way of using the oils topically, right? So really cooling on the skin. Peppermint's amazing for cooling, and it's in ice blue that we'll talk about a bit later on, so you're getting that really cooling sensation. So that's like the topical use that we're using. So safety wise, we would be adding our fractionated coconut oil to that, but I know that peppermint is fine for me, so that's a really nice way to use it. And then our third way of using peppermint is as a food additive. You will tell which you can tell which oils that you can add, you can take internally as a food additive, as it says, for flavouring use on your bottle. So not all oils you can have as a food additive. There's some that you can't, like ice blue. We don't have ice blue as a food additive. So for stomach upset, we can just add a bit of peppermint to our water and make a little tea with that. Also, it's really delicious in chocolate, so we can add that to like our Whittaker's dark chocolate. Really simple. I can do it, anyone can do it. I'm not good in the kitchen. You just basically melt down the chocolate, add 10 drops of peppermint, and you spoon it onto a baking sheet, like baking paper, and just put it into the fridge. It's divine, isn't it, Rebecca? And you can also
you know what we did the other night? We were having games night because we've started games night during lockdown, and we got frozen raspberries and stuck them on a tray that we were going to put in the fridge, put them individually on the tray, and melted down our chocolate with just a teeny little bit of milk just to loosen it a bit, and then we put in the peppermint and did chocolate drops on top of the raspberry, and it was really dark chocolate, like dark Ghana, and set them in the fridge, and
yeah,
they were really good.
Sounds good. Yeah, so a lot we can do with that, and like raw treats, and yeah, lots of things. And you can use it on garden, wild orange and things as well, and lemon, but we will cover that. So we know that these oils are pure, right? We know that they're safe, and we know because doTERRA does the testing, and we know that they're extracted in the pure oils that we can use safely and confidently. And also, just on a safety tip, is to not get them near your eyes, as I said. And if you do get them in your eyes or somewhere you don't want them, in other sensitive areas of your body, we're not going to be washing that with with water. We're going to use more oil, because if you add water, it will just sort of intensify the oil on your skin. So people often get an oil in their eye and reach for the water, but this is going to make it worse. So always remember just to use any sort of oil or milk if that's anything you've got, because it's a fatty acid, not acid, fatty whatever, fatty milk, and you wash that out of your eye. So don't use water. So next was I'm going to talk about is, so we've talked about, so what is the first sort of point I've been making here? What's the first cool fact about essential oils?
They're pure and natural.
Lovely. That's
Do I get a sticker, a gold star?
Yes, you do. Actually, before we move on, I'll just demonstrate another oil, which is our beautiful lavender. That is my sort of all-time favorite. So this is my restful oil that I'll always use for bed anytime I need to be calmed. This is my oil. I also love Lavender Peace, which is another oil that doesn't come in the top 10, but it's my sleep oil. And so lavender is, as I said, it's sourced from like Bulgaria and up from a high altitude. And it's just a beautiful oil for the skin. As Amy was saying before, her son burnt himself. So this is definitely the oil that you would reach for burns. Really good for anything to do with the skin. Amazing for mozzie bites. So if you ever get bitten by mozzies, just dab this on direct to your mozzies bites, and seriously, the itch goes away. I get eaten alive. They love me. So it really does work. It's amazing. You can make up your own skin serum. This is probably your first thing that you could try, you know, for your eczema. Lavender with frankincense, your oils that you're going to try from the top 10 for your eczema. As well.
Can I also say, Sarah, too, yep. I've found that like say in a roller bottle for eczema for an adult, like up to 25 drops, but I do a blend of frankincense, On Guard, and cedarwood, and if I don't have the On Guard, say for example, I'd use the lavender then for the antibacterial. But I think, yeah, adding On Guard in there as well with the cedarwood is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I did that one that you said before. So yeah, I've made that one up, that roller as well. So yeah, but if you've only got the top 10, you could start with the lavender and the frank to start with, and then you could add on the cedarwood and the On Guard. Oh, you've got your On Guard as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. So lavender is divine. We can put it in our bath. If you're adding oils to your bath, you want to make sure that you're diluting them in a little bit of fractionated coconut oil. People say that you don't need to, but I know somebody that didn't, and they sort of reacted. So I would always dilute them with oil first, and then it disperses through the water easier. Yeah, so that's our lavender. So with this one, we can actually, you probably didn't know this, but it is for flavouring use. I've never had it. I know Amy's a fan of lavender in hot milk, but I've never tried that.
And so, it's beautiful to make lavender and date scones as well.
So there you go. I never knew that before. So yeah, so great for diffusing, for topical use, and also for a food.
I use lavender as well for sinus relief. So I'll put 2 drops of each. It might sound a little bit strong, but these oils are so safe, these ones. 2 drops of lavender, 2 drops of lemon, and 2 drops of peppermint for acute sinus issues.
And so how would you use that?
In a glass of water. So I'd have it in a large glass of water that I just drink straight down. Give it a little swirl beforehand, because the oils are just going to sit on top of the water, and the lavender is actually really, really pleasant with the lemon and the peppermint.
And it's funny you should say that. Actually, when I had a class one day and a lady had come around with hay fever, and I had that made up as a roller. And does everyone know what I'm talking about with the roller? Yeah, so we've got our little roller bottles here that we can make up. So we've got our little top that we can just pop off and put our drops in. Yeah. So I had that made up, and she used it, and it was an instant relief for her with those 3 oils. So yeah, really effective. That was your lemon, lavender, and peppermint. So that's really good for allergies. You're right. And the last one I'll talk about here is Easy Air, which is our respiratory blend. So I have mild asthma, so every time instead of reaching for my inhaler now, I will just get this and mix it with my fractionated coconut oil, and I'll rub it on up into my throat, a bit like, you would with the old Vicks, even on the bottom of the soles of your feet as well, and put some socks on, and it's really amazing. Also in my diffuser as well, often mix it with other oils with lavender and Easy Air. It's really nice as well. So this is a blend of coral leaf, eucalyptus, peppermint, tea tree, lemon, cardamom, and Raven Sara. Yeah. So that's the oil of the product of the month. If anyone's on monthly rewards, that's the oil that is the free product this month. So that's pretty cool. So that's actually an Easy Air, so it probably has the same sort of respiratory properties. So yeah, so that's those oils. And our next point is really effectiveness, but to be honest, all of these oils are really effective. The one that we know is the king of oils is like frankincense. So this is like the king, and this always just reminds me of the inside of a church. So the first time I smelt it, it just reminds me of the inside of a church. So do they use it in churches a lot, or is it just
it can be found in incense. It's normally in a mixture of incense, but then incense within a lot of churches also has a lot of other types of additives and fillers to kind of make more of a smoke effect, because it's actually, the tradition is actually the smoke, so rising like prayers to heaven. So it can have a lot of extra additives. But I mean, the Muslim church, they use fairly pure frankincense every single day.
I love it. So so this is our king of oils. So this goes after any inflammation in the body. So it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So it's got a strong correlation with the brain, and there's lots of research on PubMed if anyone wants to go and look at the associations with frankincense and anything to do with I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but yeah, so just go and have a look. So the way I use this is basically I either turn it over top of the mouth every day, or I'll just drop some under my tongue. This is my go-to if I'm a bit nervous, I'm suffering I'm a bit anxious. It's my real calm down oil, along with copaiba, which is another oil that's not in the top 10, but it's amazing for that as well. So they're my two go-tos. Also frankincense, sort of if you put it with another oil, it will elevate its properties, and it's like a driver for the other oils. So it's a really powerful, amazing oil. Also really good for the skin. So it's really healing for the skin. So you can team that with your lavender as well and add it to your face moisturizer, or in any skincare.
As it's such an anti-inflammatory oil, it's really great if you're taking it under the tongue, because it's got such a systemic effect with being so close to blood vessels in the brain. I use it for for pain relief for my back, just to prevent it, because I've had chronic pain for a long time. So if you've got any kind of chronic pain in the body or inflammatory condition, then that is the most brilliant way to do it, and it's so incredibly safe since it's a food grade oil.
Yeah. So other effective oils are the oregano. So the difference between, so obviously everyone knows, like you're saying about conventional medicine, there is a place for it sometimes, but ideally if we can use other things before we have to turn to medicine, it's a great first line sort of defense. And it's just nice to have those things on hand, right? So you can go and grab your different oils for your different things that you're feeling without having to reach for like a Panadol or any sort of form of medicine. And sort of before you go to the doctors to get put on antibiotics, it's really nice to give something a go before you have to resort to that. So oregano is the one that I always pull out when I'm feeling like I'm getting a bit sick. I am a bit harsh, and I put my oils in my water and I swirl them, and I take a shot back. But you're probably safer to you could make up a throat spray with your On Guard and your oregano, and you could spray that into the back of your throat, or you could take it with a teaspoon or a tablespoon of oil. That's probably going to just protect your membranes a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty strong. Oregano is a really hot oil, so we have to be super cautious of it. I had a lady that when she came to my class, and I said that it burnt off skin tags and warts, but I did emphasize the fact that you have to be very careful if you're going to do this, like protect the skin around the area and just add a little bit, but she just covered it all over her arm. Not a good outcome. So we just have to be a bit careful, right? So so when you're cooking with it, we just want to be using a toothpick and stirring it into our dish. We're not going to be adding 3 or 4 drops because you'll just ruin your whole meal. It's super strong, but the reason it is so strong and it's incredibly powerful for our antiviral support. So yeah, I love it. Like, some people don't like it. Who said yuck? Oh yeah, no, it's good. It's the burn on the throat. What was I saying? Yeah, so if you don't like the smell and you don't fancy making a throat spray or taking it internally, you can just rub it on the bottom of your feet and with carrier oil, and then just put socks on. So that way it's away from your nose, and that's a good way for children who probably won't like it either. Or you can make up a little roller ball like I have here. So this is my little flu. Oh, there we go. My flu roller ball. So that's got, I can't remember the exact quantities, but that's got tea tree. So it's flute. In America it's bloom, but because we call tea tree rather than melaleuca. So that's frankincense, lemon, on guard, oregano, and tea tree. So that's a really good roller to have to add to your lymph nodes, the bottom of your feet. Have it with you, as a sort of protective barrier when you're feeling something coming on, or just during the cold and flu season. The way these work different to conventional medicine is that so with viruses, not the virus at the moment, I'm not referring to that, but generally with viruses, they multiply within the cell, and conventional medicine is water-based, where these are obviously oily. So these can penetrate the cell membrane. So this is our cell, and this is sort of the membrane, so they can come in and go into the cell, whereas water-based medication can't get in. So that generally is how they are different to conventional medicine, and sometimes how they can be antiviral when you go to the doctor and basically they can't treat you for a virus. But I'm not referring to the virus. I don't think anything can touch that baby. So but generally that's just generally how they work differently to conventional medicine.
You can also, if you can't get access to pure alcohol, you can make up a hand sanitizing spray out of the oils in the main home essentials kit. So
oregano,
on
guard, with alcohol base. So we still want to be using the alcohol. That's actually what kills the virus, so that's quite important. The On Guard sanitizer that you can buy from doTERRA does have alcohol in it, so it is okay to use, but they had sort of sold out, so people were making up their own, but I think it's back in stock now. The other oil, which is this one, was the sort of game changer for me. As I said in my massage, I'd used them and I knew the potential of them making me feel relaxed and energized, and with my clients. But when it came to the sort of the therapeutic side of things, I took a little bit more convincing, and I was a bit like, oh, okay, waiting for my oil experience. And I think everyone that uses oils, sooner or later they do get an oil experience that sort of changes their mind if they're a bit skeptical. Digestion was my little oil experience. So I had a client coming, and I have a bit of IBS, so just a gripey stomach, and I just basically grabbed my fractionated coconut oil, 1 drop of my Digestion in my hand, and I didn't actually initially like the smell because it sort of reminded me of like sambuca, and I had a bit of a bad experience with that at certain times in my life. So I grabbed that, rubbed it on. You always rub it clockwise because that's the way our digestive system works, and my it went away, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that must have been a coincidence, But since then, I have used it many times. We always use it if we go to bed and we've eaten too much Indian or something naughty, and when you go to bed and you're just like, oh, just can't sleep, I feel so full. My husband and I always get this out, and it's truly amazing. You can actually feel your stomach start digesting. It's like, and it's just amazing. You can also put it into your water as well. I find it effective enough just by rubbing it on my tummy. That's all I need, but you can put a drop in your water if you need it, and that's really good for anything digestive, like bloating, constipation, or anything like that. Apparently it also clears your sinuses if you put a drop in your tummy button. Yeah, and a lot of people do use this for sinuses as well. So that is basically the same sort of things that we'd find in a digestive tea, like anise, peppermint, ginger, caraway, coriander, tarragon, and fennel. So smells very anise to me, and it's really like licoricey. And I actually love it now. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, it's another thing with the oils. When you start using them, the ones that you don't like, you do change, and they do grow on you, and you find the ones that you didn't like initially become your favorites. It's a bizarre thing.
I'm the same, Sarah. I used to hate it. I thought it was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, my parents used to eat those aniseed lollies, and oh, they were so disgusting. But I think, but over time it was incredible, because I get a lot of issues with my tummy in terms of gluten intolerance. And I think if you do kind of tend to have a bit of allergy or intolerance, you don't have to actually wait until your tummy's upset to use it. Like, I put a drop in my glass of water before I go to bed every single night, and I just have it there, and then I just kind of, if I wake up in the night, I'll have a sip of it as well, and I just find that it settles my tummy a lot more, and I don't have, because I think in terms of inflammation of your gut, it builds up and builds up over time, and the oils are a preventative as well as a treatment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I tend to use it more like a treatment, but I definitely use other oils as like daily, like my frankincense and my lemon and lavender and all the rest of them. So yeah, but definitely if you had tummy issues, it's definitely a good one to have each day. So that is basically one more that I'd like to add to my effectiveness list, which is my ice blue. So this is one I use all the time in my massage room, and on my my clients that I used to have before the lockdown. So I haven't massaged for a while now. So this is a really good one to put in a roller. We can add probably a bit more than our 20 drops if you're making up a roller, and it's good to add some frankincense to it as well. So that's just going to amplify it a bit. You can get away with probably putting like 30 drops in a 10 ml roller of ice blue. And it's just amazing, like if you have a bit of a crooked neck or your shoulders, just by rubbing that on, it's just amazing, as well as the ice blue rub. So this is my other favorite. I do use this, but I probably use this more. If you put this on a sore area, it just is this amazingly powerful cooling of that area, and it almost seems to know where it is, and it just gets in there, and it's just like, whoa. And when I'm massaging, I can actually feel the difference in the tissue of people. And so I put this on, I work on them, and then I'll add this, and you can just feel the tissue relax. It's truly, it's one of my favorite products. But the ice blue is awesome as well, just to make up a roller of that. So that is definitely effective. So that's a blend as well. So it's got wintergreen. So wintergreen you can also use on its own. It's really good for muscles and tension. It's got peppermint, ylang-ylang, helichrysum, blue tansy, German chamomile, and osmanthus in that. So yeah, amazing sort of powerful little oil there. And then so they are all what's the second really cool fact about essential oils? First of all, we had that they were safe and natural and pure. The second one, oh yes, Pit.
Effectiveness. Very effective.
Nice. They're very effective.
Even more than some conventional medicine.
Yeah. Good first line of defense to try before we have to go to the doctor. Yeah. So then I'm going to talk. My third really cool essential oil fact tonight is that they are cost effective. So this brings me to our On Guard. So I don't know if anyone has tried cleaning with essential oils. Anyone try cleaning? Put up your hand. Yeah, okay.
I made washing powder today for my clothes.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Oh, I haven't quite got there yet, but yeah. So I was a bit of a late starter to this, and I started with my bench spray. Actually, I wasn't a late starter, to be totally honest. I have a very busy life normally, and I am very fortunate to have a cleaner. And every Friday she comes in, and obviously now she's not coming in. I had made her some products up, which she was loving. But I hadn't actually used them myself, which is quite embarrassing, but I did love my bench spray. And then now I've been cleaning with my essential oils. Oh my gosh, it's just like so good. Just like, so I'm extra passionate about it now because I know how good it is. And I know that I don't get asthma every time I clean my house. My hands don't end up like cracked and dry, and they clean really good. So it's like, I also make up a little jif out of baking soda, and that's just makes this like silver things come up really good. It's just like been totally transformed again by my cleaning. So I just love that, and it's cheap, right? So if we're making up a spray, so this is my surface cleaner for my bench spray, which we go through, and it's just so nice that you can clean. And basically you're not worrying about all these chemicals you're spraying all over your bench. If you're making a sandwich on your bench after you've sprayed the bench, you're not worrying about it because they're all basically, you can basically have them in your water anyway. So love my surface spray, love my cleaning products. So the way I use this is I actually use the On Guard concentrate as my base. You can use vinegar. You don't want to use both of those together. You either use vinegar or a Castile type soap. You can use Castile soap on its own, but I just use the On Guard concentrate. Add like 2 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons to that, and then add 20 drops of On Guard, 10 drops of lemon, and yeah, beautiful bench spray that everyone loves. You know, all my customers love that as well. They're just like, they make them up for their friends because they love them so much. So really really lovely, and it's probably less than $1 a bottle to make that up once you've got your oils and your cleaning concentrate. So for my bathroom spray, I add a bit of tea tree, would add a bit of maybe a bit of clove as well for the antibacterial and anti sort of fungal properties. So our On Guard is our protective blend. This was also my favorite when I started. I was just obsessed. Smells like Christmas, as you probably know. You've probably got this. Really using this at the moment, and just never get sick of it. So that's got wild orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. And you know, that's the basis of all their cleaning products because it's got all those protective oils in them. We can put makeup rollers for that, for our immunity, for our cleaning, just even diffusing. It's just so lovely. Also, you can add this to chocolate as well, or to a hot chocolate. It's really good. You can soak apples in it. Just fill up a bowl full of water, add some cut up apples, put it in the fridge, and it's a really good immune boosting snack. So yeah, love On Guard. And then, you know, we've got our lemon, which is our cleansing oil, amazing to cut through grease, take off sticky labels, great for getting sticky bits off my heat pump that I tried. Like I think we had our lounge painted, and they put like sticky stuff around my heat pump in my lounge, and I've tried everything to get that off. I went, oh, I'll give lemon oil a go. It's the only thing that cut it. Yeah, amazing. You can clean your oven with it. So it's just amazing, beautifully clarifying in your diffuser as well, for the air.
Sarah, with what you're saying about cleaning products too, and what people have been asking and surrounding hormone health, I think, you know, using On Guard and lemon, say for example, you're actually supporting your endocrine system, because all of the commercial products that are on the market, and even a lot of the natural ones as well that have got extra additives, they're endocrine disruptors. And I think, you know, equally for men and women, I think we're always focusing on women's health, but it's the same with men's health, because when we're talking about the health of the endocrine system and the immune system, and I think, you know, when you're exposed to so many toxins in your life, and I know that we hear a lot about detoxifying our lives, and we probably think, oh yeah, whatever, I'm doing the best I can. One of the biggest things is the cleaning products, because of course, anytime that we spray it, we're breathing it in. So there we go, that we've got the aromatic use. And then we're using them topically because we're touching them all the time, and then our food is touching them. And so, you know, if you're thinking about using essential oils from an aromatic or a topical use, then, you know, I mean, that's what you're doing with your toxic cleaning sprays as well, and perfumes and whatever else you're using. So I think if you've got any kind of hormonal disruption or imbalance in your life, then the first thing to do is to replace your cleaning products with essential oils. And it's so easy, just like Sarah's saying, it's the most basic of recipes. It doesn't take, I mean, it only takes a few seconds.
Yeah, definitely. It's, yeah, so easy, so easy. I'm not a huge DIY person, but it's so easy. Also, just a note with citrus oils, they're photosensitive, so don't put them on topically and then go out into the sun. We don't really want to do that. Yeah, as I said, Amy said that, yeah, very uplifting for the mood. With peppermint, it's really lovely. So yeah, I think when it comes to emotional oils, everyone's got their thing that they sort of resonate with. I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think some people find citrus uplifting, some people may find like lavender uplifting. I just think you need to find that oil that resonates with you, and then use that as your oil and sort of feel into that oil. I love to do meditation. It's been huge for me through this lockdown, and that's just, you don't have to get massively into it. Just find something on the website. Just Google 10-minute meditations, and seriously, it's so good for you. Like when you're feeling like really overwhelmed, get an oil, do a meditation, and it's just a complete reset. I just really love it. But I think that's it. Like, we have got oils that are uplifting, you know, that's their quality. But I just think you just also need to find your oil and just use that. There's no right or wrong. I don't think there's a right or wrong. Whatever works for you. So when it comes to hormones, I would like to say I've had a few people, and being 46 myself. Am I 46 or 45? You forget when you're over 40, it just sort of rolls into one age. So I've got a lot of friends going through perimenopause, so have done a lot of research on this. I've got on my website, I've got a sort of an article I wrote about it, and I've been to a few of Linda's talks. She's a naturopath in our group, so there'll be recordings of that, as Amy said, in our essentialist group. And so the thing she mentions, as Rebecca said, is to, you know, cut out all the toxins. Yeah, switch to toxin-free cleaners. Try to avoid plastics if you can. Eat as much plant-based food as you can. You know, eat a healthy diet. There's no one quick fix. You're not going to just use essential oils and go, oh, look, I've solved all my problems. It's like a holistic approach. So you want to cut those toxins out. The other thing was, there's these supplements, which I've had quite a few people on. These are called the lifelong vitality supplements that doTERRA do, and that's actually their biggest seller in the US. So this made up of an omega, a natural whole food like multivitamin, and then a cellular energy complex. I've been taking these for ages, but I had eczema on my skin, had perioral dermatitis, which is sort of related to hormones. And I noticed a huge change when I started taking them. My skin was so much better. My energy levels were better. My mood was more even. And I know quite a lot of people have had those same results. So they're definitely worth giving a go. I think as we're getting older, our bodies don't sort of use those nutrients the same way. Also, our food these days, we're not getting all our nutrients from food. So even if you do eat healthy, it's quite good just to fill in those gaps, and they seem to work really well. If you're on LRP, which is our monthly rewards, if you order them and through that, and you don't think they're any good after a month, you can actually return them for a full refund even if you've got like one left in the bottle. So it's worth a go if you're on LRP. The other oil I wanted to mention around hormones is Clary Calm. So for my sister, she went on the supplements and uses Clary Calm every day. It's her oil. You know how I was saying, find your oil. This is her sleep oil. It's her oil she loves. Every time she runs out, I've run out of my Clary Calm. So she comes and steals mine. But this you can rub on your tummy every day and also the inside of your ankles. And if you use it consistently, so she was, sorry, man in the group, but she was a bit irregular, as you do when you're going through that perimenopause. And so she found that her cycle just has become really regular each month now. So it's really made a huge difference to her. So yeah, so I had another lady with endometriosis, that's a big word, endo, and she, I won't even attempt to say that one.
Endometriosis.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. So she went on the supplements as well, and it really noticed a big difference as well. So they are really quite effective for hormonal stuff.
Can I just say too, hormonally, clary sage, which is the predominant ingredient, is also really awesome for prostate health. Really awesome for fertility, men and women. Fantastic for mood and anxiousness. So I mean, it's not just a woman's one. It's great.
Yeah. I've got both. I've got Clary Calm and Clary Sage. So I diffuse Clary Sage. So there's sort of research around that even just smelling it out of the bottle is enough to have some effect on the body when it comes to sort of hormonal stuff. So yeah, it's a really powerful oil when it comes to hormones. So yeah, I think that is pretty much the 10 oils. And I think that is pretty much it. So I think what we'll do now is just maybe open up for your questions.
Did you want to talk a little bit about purity in terms of CPTG, just so people understand the difference?
Okay. I did talk a little bit about that, but I'll go into it a bit more. Yeah. So CPTG is just DoTERRA's purity. So it stands for certified. Oh, here we go. Certified pure therapeutic grade. And so it's just a testing that doTERRA did, as I mentioned before. So I just did this course. Did you do it, Pit, as well? Have you just done the course? Yeah. So it's really quite comprehensive, and it was a bit like the science was a bit like I was a bit like, wow. All the testing that they do like 8 different tests, which I won't go into because I can't remember. But yeah, amazing. So all their oils they're making sure that they're completely pure, they're free of contaminants, they're just 100% pure oils that have the highest chemistry, highest constituents available for that oil. So for example, peppermint, you know, you can have lots of different types of peppermint, but the menthol in peppermint is like super high quality. So that peppermint is going to be a really good therapeutic oil as opposed to another peppermint. Anything you'd like to add to that, Rebecca?
Thanks, Sarah. No, I think it's just important.
It's hard to go over it with, yeah, it's quite a visual thing.
I think the thing is, because a lot of people wonder, you know, why exactly would you use doTERRA? And I think that's a difference. You know, I think there's a lot of safety issues kind of floating around about essential oils. A lot of people who just kind of pop down to Kmart and get their oils or get their diffuser. It's incredibly important from a safety point of view, especially if we're using them, like, I mean, even on your animals. If you're using them on animals or children or, you know, anybody else in your family, it's incredibly important. And I think also too, doTERRA is such a beautifully ethical company as well. So, I mean, they stand behind their sourcing 100%, which just makes such a beautiful difference to the quality and just the impact that it actually has globally. Like the oils don't just all get grown in one humongous big field that has like lavender in one space and, you know, peppermint in the next. Not that you'd necessarily do that, but you know what I mean. And so I think in terms of sourcing, it's just an incredibly ethical company. And when we're looking at who we're actually going to support with what we're doing, it's just like at the moment with, you know, supporting New Zealand business or Christian business or all these different groups that are floating around. And I think we've ethically got to really think about the where we're getting our oils, because it does have a huge impact on third world countries in terms of the farming and sustainability of products. So that's a biggie.
Yeah, I think there's heaps of things that you can watch online about it and read on their website. I'm not the best of explaining it, to be honest, but you can go and read about all the different testings that they do. Also, on the bottom of each bottle, there is a number on the bottom of each bottle, and you can actually go into a website called sourcetoyou.com, and you can see what testing's been done and what the chemical constituents are of each bottle. I think it's the purity is one thing, but also the chemical constituents are really it's an important fact as well, because if we are using like them, if we want to use them like as a natural medicine, that's really important. And I don't think it's a matter of, I mean, some places like Kmart and the $2 shop, obviously it's going to be rubbish because that's, you know, that these are more expensive for a reason, right? You get what you pay for. But there are other companies that they're still pure and organic, but they probably just don't have the same sort of the chemistry, the constituents in each oil, because there's a lot of research DoTERRA do to get that high therapeutic oil. Yeah, so it's been really interesting to learn about.
Hey, Sarah, have we talked about, sorry, I came a little bit late. Have we talked about how to use them at all?
The oils?
Yes.
Yeah, like aromatically.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sarah. That was so good. Also, guys, this is just the start of your journey with oils. So I would love to invite you all to become Essentialist members. And when you do become an Essentialist member, you come along to our Facebook community, where you can learn from all sorts of people from all different walks of life and different health practitioners. So every Wednesday we have a community class where you can further your knowledge in different specific topics, and every Thursday night we do a intro to oils like this, and this is just the start. And then once you become a member, you're invited along to attend our oil camp, which is a 10-day more intensive look into the top 10 oils. So you'll get each day one of the top 10 oils, how to use it physically, how to use it to support your emotions and your moods and your mental health, and then the DIYs on how to use them as well. So it's really fun, and you can learn lots from all sorts of different people, and win lots of cool prizes as well. So yeah, we've got another one starting on the 20th of May. So if you haven't already done oil camp, please come along and do that with us. It's really fun. Has anybody got any questions? You can unmute yourselves now.
I'm just reading all the comments to
all of my cheeky comments.
So yeah, the lavender and the bath salts, if you haven't made those up, like seriously are amazing. You can add like a bit of rose petals and dried lavender to your bath salts. That's a really amazing DIY as well, and really good for your body.
Awesome. I'm just going to stop the recording now. So goodbye, Essentialists, and then hello, everybody's questions.